ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ यश्छन्दसामृषभो विश्वरूपः ध्यमृतात् सम्बभूव समेन्द्रो मेधया स्पृणोतु अमृतस्य देवधारणो भूयासं शरीरं मे विचर्षणम् जिह्वा मे मधुमत्तमा कर्णाभ्यां भूरिविश्रुवम् ब्रह्मणः कोशोऽसि मेधया पिहितः श्रुतं मे गोपाय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिः पृष्ठं गिरेरिव पवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविणगं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्खोर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। स्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारश्च ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नमः श्री शङ्करानन्द गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलासमहामोह ग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे From the verse 23 we can read. Buddhi karmendriya prana panchakair manasadhiya shariram saptadashabhihi सूक्ष्मं तल्लिङ्गमुच्यते प्राज्ञस्तत्राभिमानेन तैजसत्वं प्रपद्यते हिरण्यगर्भतामीशः तयोर्व्यष्टिसमष्टिता समष्टिरीशः सर्वेषाम् स्वात्मतादात्मवेदनात् तदभावात् ततोऽन्येतु कथ्यन्ते व्यष्टिसंज्ञया. Thus, there has been described the creation of the subtle body, and it is said the subtle body consists of the 17 elements, the 5 organs of perception, the 5 organs of action, the 5 pranas, the manaha and the buddhi. The 17 elements make up what we call the subtle body, which is also called linga shariram. It is also called body. Not that there is a body like this, but then it pervades the entire gross body. The subtle body always requires a gross body as its abode, as its dwelling place, because subtle body can only express when it has the vehicle of the gross body, otherwise it cannot contact these objects of the world. And so subtle body dwells within this gross body, like a tenant. Gross body is compared to a house, and when the lease expires, this fellow leaves, one house, goes to another one, gets another lease, and depending upon what kind of experiences he wants, it can be the house can be of the form of another human being, it can be of the form of a devata, a god, it can be of the form of a dog or a cat, depending on what kind of things you wanted. Because when you live in a house, we always imagine another house, another better environment, a better situation, better facilities and whatnot. So whatever I have been thus deliberating upon throughout this life results into the new house that I will gain subsequently. And this sukshma sharira, or subtle body, also is called linga shariram because it is an evidence. Its very presence indicates the presence of consciousness, because subtle bodies functions as though it's a conscious entity, which means that it derives its consciousness from something else, and therefore it thus points to or enables us to infer the existence of what we call the witness or witnessing consciousness. This prajna, the jiva, on account of identification with this subtle body, meaning calling the subtle body as I, calling the mind as I, calling the sense organs as I, then he comes to be called Tejasaha. And Hiranyagarbha and Ishvara, who is the one identified with Maya, when he identifies with the totality of all the subtle bodies, comes to be called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is Samashti, or the totality, and Tejasa is Vyashti, or individuality. Principle is the same. It is only Chidatma, it is Param Brahma. How when identified with individual subtle body comes to be called Tejasa. When functioning through the totality of all the subtle bodies comes to be called Hiranyagarbha. And thus the discussion of what we call subtle body. Now he also proceeds to explain to us the creation of what we call the gross body and the whole gross creation. Says now in the introduction of the verse 26, Evam linga shariram tadupadikau tejas hiranyagarbhau cha darshayitva sthula shariradi utpatti siddhaye panchikaranam nirupayitum aha. Evam, in this manner, linga shariram darshayitva, showing how linga sharira, or the subtle body, came into being and what it consists of. Tadupadikau tejasa hiranyagarbhau, how the linga sharira upadikau, meaning that the one who is identified with the linga sharira, or the subtle body. So one identified with the individual subtle body comes to be called Tejasa. One identified with the totality of all subtle body comes to be called Hiranyagarbha. Having shown all of this, now Sthula Shariradi Utpatti Siddhe, he is trying to explain the experiences that we have. So we have the experience of the mind, we have experience of subtle body, we have the experience of ignorance, we have the experience of gross body, and so all of this must be explained. What is the nature of the gross body, how it came into being, what is its cause, why is it there, what is its function, what is the nature of subtle body, what from it is made, what is its function, what is the cause of all of this. All this whole scheme has to be understood. And this whole scheme is being described. In that description now we come to this gross body. Now, by definition, gross means that which is perceptible. By definition, subtle is that which is not perceptible. And now so far we have what we call the 5 subtle elements and the organs of perception, etc., created from the combination of the elements, from the aspects of the elements. But when we come to the gross body and the gross creation, we now jump a stage when we come from the imperceptible to the perceptible. And so something must happen to the subtle elements before they become perceptible. Because when the elements are subtle, we don't perceive them like the mind cannot be perceived by senses. In order for those elements to become perceptible, some process of grossification must happen. And that process in Vedanta, as you know, is called Paṃcikaranam. The 5-fold combination. So those subtle elements undergo certain kind of a combination and they become gross. This is the idea. And so first this Paṃcikaranam or the process of grossification must be explained, and then the author can explain how from those 5 gross elements then the body and the whole world and everything is made. So before describing the creation of the gross body, the author first describes what we call the process of grossification or Paṃcikaranam. Sthula Shariradi Utpatti Siddhe, in order to arrive at the creation of the Sthula Sharira, etc., Paṃcikaranam Nirupayitum, that Paṃcikaranam is a necessary process before that, and that is what the author, who is desirous of describing the process of Paṃcikaranam or grossification, says in the verses 26 and 27. So 26th verse says, Tadbhogaya punarbhogya Bhogayatana janmane Paṃcīkaroti Bhagavan Pratyekam Viyadadikam. Tadbhogaya, again for the enjoyment or experience of these jivas as individual souls or individuals. Bhogya bhogayatana janmane. In order for me to gain various experiences, it is necessary to have the objects, the gross objects, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. These 5-fold objects of the world are necessary. The sense organs are already there to experience them. But what is to be experienced through the sense organs, those objects must be there. And also, as you said, the subtle body requires always an ashraya, requires a dwelling place. And so this gross body also should be there. So gross body must be there, the objects to be experienced must be there, and also we must have a location like earth, remaining where we can gain these different experiences. So bhogya means object of experience, that which is experienced, namely the gross objects. Bhogayatana, ayatanam means abode. So remaining where you gain different experiences, that is also required. And all the lokas, all the different worlds, appropriate places are also required for gaining the experience of those objects. Janmane, in order to create this. So Lord thought how to create these things. Bhagavan Paṃcīkaroti. Bhagavan means the Lord. Pratyekam Vyadadikam Paṃcīkaroti. He takes each one of these 5 elements, space, air, etc., Paṃcīkaroti, and then he makes a combination, a 5-fold combination, and that is how the gross elements are created. Going to the Tika, the subject of this whole verse is Bhagavan, that's a subject. So that's first taken, Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? Bhagaha asya asti iti Bhagavan. The one who possesses Bhaga is called Bhagavan. Aishwaryadi gunashatka sampannaha. They commonly describe the six Bhaga. Bhaga means the glories. So this sixfold Aishwarya, or the sixfold attributes, the one who has in absolute measure, is called Bhagavan or the Lord. Aishwaryadi, beginning from Aishwarya. Aishwarya means the rulership. Gunashatka sampannaha, one who is possessed of the sixfold powers. What is this? Aishwaryasya, samagrasya, dharmasya, yashasah, shriyah, vairagyasyat, mokshasya, shannam, bhaga itinganam. Shankaracharya quotes this verse in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. What is called Bhaga? The six things are called Bhaga. Shannam, bhaga itingana. The six have ingana or the designation called Bhaga. What is it? Aishwaryasya samagrasya. Aishwarya means this power or the overlordship in totality. The total rulership or the overlordship is called Aishwarya. Dharmasya. Then the Lord is the one who possesses dharma or virtue also in absolute measure. Yashasaha, one who possesses yasha. Yasha means the fame, who possesses fame or the great glory also in absolute measure. Shriyaha, one who possesses Shri. Shri means wealth, beauty. So that one who possesses resources, one who possesses them also in absolute measure. Vairagya. So you see, even though Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi is wedded to Lord Vishnu. Lakshmi means Shri. So he possesses the Shri or the wealth in absolute measure. But simultaneously he also possesses Vairagya, dispassion also in absolute measure. And therefore we should never get, very often these misconceptions get created. You might have heard about Lord Krishna, the kind of play he used to have, in Vrindavan with his cowherd maidens and whatnot. And then Lord Krishna is said to have 16,008 wives, And so you wonder, this is a God who is steeped in simply sensuous pleasures or what? He says, no, Vairagyasya samagrasya. He possesses Vairagya or dispassion in absolute measure. Moksha, he possesses is free in absolute measure and possesses knowledge also in absolute measure. Then he's called, all these things, then he's called Bhagavan. It's interesting, how these things are told in the form of stories. It is said once, Lord Krishna, as you perhaps know, was dwelling in Vrindavan. And all these gopis were there, the cowherd maidens. So it is said that once, now this Vrindavan is situated on the bank of the river Yamuna. And once a great sage, his name is Durvasa, with so many of his disciples happened to come to that place. And he was on the other bank of the river Yamuna. And now he had to be treated well, and therefore so these gopis from this end were carrying all sorts of food and everything else in order to offer bhiksha to the sage Durvasa. When the gopis were ready now to cross the river, all of a sudden there was a great flood in this river Yamuna. Now how to go? These gopis did not know how to go. They came to Lord Krishna, says, now we have to go, we are getting late and we must go because it's already time for bhiksha. How do we go? He says, you tell the river that if Lord Krishna is a celibate, from is ever a celibate, then may, O river Yamuna, may you give us the way or path if Lord Krishna is celibate or brahmachari. And then Lord Krishna was very well known to have 6,008 wives, and what are you talking about, So these gopis could not believe this. But anyway, since they were told, they went and requested this river Yamuna, if Lord Krishna is celibate, brahmachari is called anadi brahmachari, ever a brahmachari from the beginningless time, then please give us the way. And look at the wonder, the river immediately gave way and the gopis crossed and went to the other bank. They fed, they treated Durvasa, sage Durvasa very well. He and all his disciples were very well fed. Now gopis wanted to return to this bank, Vrindavan. Again the river was in spate. There was a great flood. How to go back? They went back to sage Durvasa. Says, we don't know how to go back. He says, oh gopis, you go and tell this river, if Durvasa never eats, then please give us the way. He had just eaten all this meal, and still it says to the gopis, go and tell the river, if Durvasa has never eaten, then please give us the way. Gopis are surprised. What are you talking? We have fed you. You have eaten before us. But even then, they go back to the river and says, if sage Durvasa has never eaten and never eats, then please give us the way. And look at the wonder. River immediately parted, The way was given and the gopis returned back. So this is how things are. Even though apparently enjoying everything, in reality he enjoys total vairagya. Apparently eating everything, in reality he does not eat. So that is how kurvannapi na karoti. Even though doing, he does not do. That's why it is said Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who possesses his vairagya, dispassion in absolute measure. Moksha, or freedom in absolute measure, or the knowledge for moksha, one who possesses that, he is called Bhagavan. So he is omniscient, omnipotent and everything. It is by his sankalpa or by his resolve or by his desire that the whole creation has come into being and it unfolds. So earlier also it was said, Ishvara Agnyaya, by the command of the Lord, the 5 elements were created from Tamah Pradhana Prakriti. Now said further, it is God again, this Bhagavan, the Lord, who is Brahman reflected in Maya, Mayopahitam Chaitanyam. He now desires that there should be grossification. These 5 subtle elements should combine with one another in such a manner that we get 5 gross elements. So Bhagavan, Panchi Karoti Rasva Bhagavan, Aishwaryadi Guna Shatka Sampanna. One is possessed of these gunas or the attributes in absolute measure, Aishwarya, etc. Parameshwaraha. Ishvara means the ruler. Parameshwaraha, the ruler of everyone. So there are so many rulers, or so many kings are there. Every department, all the devatas also rule their respective departments. Parameshwaraha, one who is absolute ruler. Punaha, punarapi, again and again. This goes on in every cycle of creation. So punaha means again. Again means what? It was done in the past cycle, earlier cycle also. The same kind of thing goes on in every cycle of creation. Tadbhogaya. Tadbhogaya means tesham jivanam bhogaya. For the enjoyment of these jivas. As we say, in the time of pralaya or dissolution, all these jivas go to sleep. When they are sleeping, there is no desire. But again they wake up with the desire. Just as when we go to sleep, all our desires, they are dormant. And during the deep sleep, there is no desire, there is no memory, there is no knowledge, there is nothing. At that time, all our memories, all our desires, all of them are in what we call a dormant stage or a seed state. And what is it that makes us wake up? It is that desire which is now ready to sprout, makes me wake up. Otherwise, how would you wake up? So, to fulfill that desire. And so what for is the creation? To fulfill the desires of all the jivas. So, at the time of pralaya or dissolution, all these jivas are sleeping. The desires are also unmanifest. And when the desires are now ready to manifest, at that time the creation process begins. And that's the first desire of the Lord, which is a combination of the total desires of all the jivas. So these jivas are individual souls or individual entities, they want to gain experiences. The desire to gain experience comes from ignorance, as we said. Ignorance creates a sense of inadequacy, and that creates a first desire to get rid of the inadequacy. And because of ignorance, I think that If I gain such and such thing, then I'll be complete. And therefore, these jivas want to experience different objects of the world. And so purpose of creation is to provide all these jivas a right field of experience so that they can experience or fulfill their desires. So it is said, tad bhogaya tesham jivanam bhogaya eva, for the sake of providing the right field of experience for these jivas. Bhogya bhogayatana janmane, for the creation of bhogya and bhogayatana. What is bhogya? Bhogyasya, four kinds of jivas, or four kinds of living beings as they identify based on the process of birth. So this is they are interesting classifications. So a classification of the kind of food based on the method that you eat. Also here, the living beings are classified in fourfold ways based on the process of birth. Jarayujadi, so Jarayuja, one who is born from the womb, like all the mammals, human beings and other mammals, they would be Jarayuja. Then we have Andaja, those which are born of eggs. Udbhijaya, those which are born of earth. They split open the earth like the vegetables and plants, etc. And Swedaja, those which are born out of Sweda, sweat, etc. Like the lice and so on. They think that, well, I don't know. But so these four kinds of living beings are there, classified from the process of birth. So Jarayujadi Chaturvida Sharira Jatasya Cha Janmane Utpatte. And so depending upon the kind of experience you want, see, God has to create so much. Imagine the spectrum of desire you must have been entertaining. The spectrum of the kinds of bodies available shows the spectrum of desire you must have been entertaining. Because certain desires can be fulfilled only through certain upadhis or certain bodies. And so we have 84 lakhs, as they say. 8.4 million are the varieties of this upadhis, a variety of bodies are there. 8.4 million. In fact, they have counted also some of them. And they have counted up to 6 million or something like that, But it is commonly said 8.4 million varieties of these upadhis or bodies are there. And that represents the spectrum of the kind of experiences we can gain. And I must be willing them, otherwise I must be desiring them. Therefore next time I am born as a mosquito or born as anything else, depending upon the kind of thing that I want to enjoy. So in order to enable these jivas to fulfill all their desires, Lord has to create all this variety of different bodies. And then there will be somebody who will want to become a dog also, somebody who wants to become a cat, somebody who wants to become a mosquito, somebody who wants to become a moth, and so on and so forth. Because somebody will have that kind of desire anyway. And they say that the population of dogs is increasing, that shows the kind of desires, They say population of mosquitoes is increasing, well, the kind of desires that we entertain. So Janmane Utpatte, for the creation of this, creation of the objects of enjoyment and creation of the different bodies through which these enjoyments can take place. Vedadikam, Akashadi Bhuta Panchakam, these 5 subtle elements beginning from space, Pratyekam, each one of them, Ekaikam, Panchi Karoti, Apanchatmakam, Panchatmakam, Sampadyamanam Karoti. Whereas at the moment, each of the elements is pure. That's why it is called Tanmatra. All of them now become Panchatmaka. Each one of them becomes 5-fold. So each element then has also the fraction of other 4 elements. So there is no pure element now. Once this process of grossification takes place, the elements lose their purity and they combine with other elements and thus they become gross. This is a prayoga in Sanskrit. Panchi karoti, apanchatmakam, panchatmakam karoti, duri karoti, aduram, duri karoti. So that which is that which is near is made away. That's called duri karanam or panchikaranam. That which is presently not in the state of panchikaranam is made panchikaranam. That is called panchikaroti. Katham ekaikasya panchapanchatmakatvam ityatah aha. How can one become 5-fold? And so that process is described in the verse 27. Dvidha vidhaya chaikaikam Chaturdha prasamam punah Swasvetaradvitiyam shaihi Yojanat pancha panchate. And this I'm sure you know from Tattvabodh. Dvidha vidhaya cha ekaikam. Ekaikam, each one of the elements is dvidha. Dvidha means twofold. Each one of the 5 elements is first divided into 2. Chaturdha prasamam punah. And then 1/2 is further divided into 4. And thus we have a half element and then 1/8. So 4 of 1/8 making another half. Swasva itaradvitiyam shaihi yojanat. And then each one is swasvetaradvitiyam shaihi. Each half is joined with 1/8 of the rest of the 4 elements. Yojanat pancha panchate. Each one becomes 5-fold. Easy way to understand is imagine a pack of cards, pack of 40 cards, each divided into 5. We have the each pack. 8 cards. So you have this 5 groups, each consisting of 8 cards. Now divide them into 2 first. So we have 10 packs, each having 4 cards. Take the 4 here and distribute to the rest of the 4. Take 4, distribute to each rest of the 4, and you have what? 4 of the first and then 1 of each of the 4 elements, and thus you have what we call, again the total number of cards in each pack remains the same, but now the composition is different. It has 50% of its own element and 12.5% of each of the 4 elements, and thus you have what we call a panchikrita, every element which is having 5-fold, 5 aspects. All the 5 aspects are in each element. That's what is said here. So dvidha vidhaya. The Tikakara explains that Vedadikam ekaikam dvidha dvidha. All these elements beginning from space, each one of them dvidha dvidha is divided into half. Each one of them is divided. Whenever you repeat this, dvidha dvidha means that each one is divided into 2. So repetition shows that it applies to all of them. So dvidha dvidha means each of the 5 elements is divided into 2. Now the Tikakara says dvidha dvidha, but the verse says dvidha only once. You see, dvidha vidhaya chaikaikam. So there is a comment that tantrena ucharito dvidha shabda. The dvidha shabda tantrena, this tantra is a technical word. Is a technical word in grammar, and what it means is that utterance of more than one word, when they follow each other, utterance once of more than one word is called tantra. So what is intended to be said here by the author is dvidha dvidha vidhaya. However, he utters that word dvidha only once instead of uttering twice. He intends to in fact imply that dvidha dvidha he wants to utter twice. Instead of that, he utters only once. So uttering once, where the intention is to utter more than once, that particular method is called tantra. So tantrena ucharitaha dvidha shabdaha. This word dvidha is uttered by the author by this method tantra, meaning that he means dvidha dvidha. He wants to imply that this word dvidha is, there are 2 words, but he utters it only once. Therefore the Tikakara said, Vedadikam ekaikam dvidha dvidha. Vidha means kritva. Bhagadvayopetam kritva ityartha, meaning that each element should be divided into 2. So each of the 5 elements is first divided into 2. Punascha punarapi prasamam bhagam chaturdha bhaga chadushtayopetam vidhaya iti anusajyate sambadhyate. And then you take first half of each of them, and Prathamam Bhagam, take the first half of each of the 5 elements, and Chaturdha Vidhaya, divide that again into 4. And thus you have half and 1/8, 4 portions of 1/8. Then what? Swasvetara dvitiyam shehi स्वस्मात् इतरेषां चतुर्णां भूतानां यो द्वितीय स्थूलो भागः तेन सह प्रथम भागांशानां चतुर्णां मध्ये एकैकस्य योजना. The Sanskrit is more difficult than the understanding, and so all you have to do is take that 1/8 from each element and then supply it to swa itara, other than itself. Thus we have Akasha element space divided into 2, first half, second half divided again into 4. Now 1/8 of Akasha, those 4 half, so 1/8 of Akasha goes into fire, 1/8 of Akasha goes into Vayu, 1/8 of Akasha goes into water, 1/8 of Akasha goes into earth. Take Vayu, 1/8 of Vayu goes into Akasha, 1/8 of Vayu goes into fire, and thus you have this combination. And so finally, each element has 50% of its own and 12.5% of each of the other 4. So what we perceive, for example fire which we perceive, is not pure fire. 50% of the element fire, and there is a fraction of space in there, fraction of water in there, fraction of earth in there, fraction of air in there, which you find in fire. So from fire you have smoke, that smoke is because of the earth element, dark. From fire there is vapor also, that is because of the water element. And then the fire, of course, there is heat, and the air also coming out from there, so that is due to the element air in there. Thus in the element fire there is predominance of fire, but also the presence of the other 4 elements. And so also the water, it has certain temperature which is due to the element fire. It also has, it has certain impurities, other combinations due to element earth, and so on and so forth. Each one has the fractions of the other 4 also. And so what we perceive are what we call the grossified 5 elements. Thus, when this happens, the subtle elements become gross somehow, So far these 5 elements were subtle, pure. When this purity is sacrificed, and when this combination happens, then each one of those combined elements now becomes gross element. From then becomes the material for the whole gross creation. This is there is no way for us to deny this, and no way for us to justify this, but this is what they say. It's an explanation, and the reason for all this explanation for creation is to understand our experience rather than to insist upon its scientific accuracy, This whole method of 5 is basically to understand our experience and to understand the nature of things, that's all. Rather than making it or insisting that this is all accurate. Otherwise, when scientific discoveries take place, suppose they contradict, then we have to understand it in the proper perspective. Because old scriptures say that the earth is flat, you see. Now we find that the earth is round. What shall we do with that? So there are people who still insist that earth is flat. Because Bhagavatam says that, Because Bible says that, because these scriptures say that earth is stationary, therefore you cannot accept that the earth rotates. It took them, I guess, centuries to accept that. And those scientists who discovered were really persecuted. So that becomes all dogmatic. Vedanta is not a dogma. Vedanta presents before us this whole process in order to be able to understand life. Because our approach to life is not the kind of the approach that a scientist has. Our approach to the life is to understand the reality of the life. So understand the reality. What is the nature of reality of the creation? What is the nature of reality of this body? That's what we have to understand. And we have to understand what is the upadana karana, the material cause of all this. And ultimately what it means is, whatever it is Brahman alone. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. The message here is that Vasudeva Sarvam. As Bhagavad Gita says, whatever there is Vasudeva, is nothing but Paramatma, is Brahman. And that is the purpose behind the description of the creation. That is why in different Upanishads we do come across different descriptions for creation. And someone may feel that there is no consistency at all, and they all seem to be all stories, as someone said, cock and bull stories and things like that, So it may look like that. But that's not the intention. Intention is only to show that the world is not, what we call creation is nothing but Brahman. Brahman manifesting itself in the form of creation is what it is. And so creation as it appears is not ultimately real. It depends upon Brahman for its reality, and therefore it is mithya. This is the idea. And the details are not important in terms of their accuracy, but they are important in terms of allowing us to, enabling us to contemplate upon the nature of creation. So we want to contemplate upon the nature of creation with reference to the reality rather than with reference to the scientific accuracy or with reference to a mathematical model. That's not the way we contemplate upon the thing. We contemplate upon the creation as it is a manifestation of Brahman, or the creation which consists of the fivefold, and how we relate with the world, how we receive the different stimuli, and how we correspond to the world. To explain that process, this is an excellent model. Whether in fact there are 5 elements, well, there are no 5 elements, there are 92 or 102 elements, or there is no element at all ultimately, So 5 elements is a method of analyzing and understanding our experience. And so anyway, this is a Vedantic process of explaining how the subtle became the gross. What the science explain, I do not know. There is no explanation. How does that energy, which is imperceptible, which is comparable to the tanmatra or the subtle element, how does it become perceptible, gross? That is just a wonder. Because what we call this concrete or this tangible matter consists really of what they call energy, which is not tangible. Not tangible means subtle in our language. Means tanmatra or the pure element. How did it come to become so tangible as though? Now, well, this is a process that they explain. And science may have some other explanation, we do not know. But they understand that somehow the subtle becomes gross. And so they have addressed themselves to all these problems. That's the idea, and have come up with these explanations which will enable us to see the transition from the subtle to the gross. Not only that, but when the dissolution takes place and the whole process reverses. The evolution is from the cause to the effect, and what we call the dissolution is from effect to the cause. And this process helps us to resolve things from gross to the subtle. So when you want to arrive at the original state, then you keep on resolving the effect into cause, the gross elements into subtle elements, the subtle elements into the original, into the Prakriti, and that is how you can go back into the source. For that, this method is excellent. Because that's what one has to learn to do, to be able to go to the source, or to be able to spot the cause in the effect. And so this cause-effect chain is explained in Vedanta in this manner. Okay, so we have one. And therefore they can be casual about it. And so as though inadvertently they are just using different processes of creation in a casual manner. That shows that they don't look upon it very seriously. They don't think that there is creation actually. There is just an appearance, But then if we would want to know that there is creation, so some process must be there. So therefore the process is given here so that we think we have the satisfaction of having understood the creation. Otherwise the fellow will not proceed further. Now I understand everything. Then we proceed to tell him, okay, now look at this glass properly. What is it? Is it real? And that so-called, what is it, styrofoam, Is it a cup or is it styrofoam? Then, now he is available to you. Until you explain to him the process of cup, which he thinks it is, He is not available to listen to you further. He having understood now, I know what this cup is. Now then you draw his attention to the reality of the cup. Is it cup or styrofoam? So cup is mithya. And therefore, that process of creation or how it was manufactured doesn't matter. Whether it was extrusion or what process it was, it is all mithya only, nothing else. But until then, you have to tell him scientifically how styrofoam came into being and what processes went through to become a cup and by what channels it all came here. Then you think that he is satisfied. Then you tell him that what you call cup is nothing but styrofoam and so cup is mithya. Then we are ready to listen to you. So in order to make us ready to listen to what they have to tell, it's necessary to create all this background and present this matter in the so-called scientific manner so that we have the satisfaction of having understood everything. And so in a very systematic manner, the creation is described here. Evam panchikaranam abhidhaya taihi bhutaihi utpadyam karyavargam darshayati. So you must know the method of teaching also here. How cleverly they are presenting things. Evam, in this manner, panchikaranam abhidhaya, having stated this panchikaranam, taihi bhutaihi utpadyam karyavargam darshayati. The karyavargam, this whole host of this effect, karya, taihi bhutaihi utpadyam, that which is created from those five gross elements. Now, what is created from these five gross elements is described in the verse 28. Tairandastatra bhuvanam bhogya bhogashrayodbhavah hiranyagarbhasthulesmin dehe vaishvanaro bhaved. Taihi bhutaihi anda. Anda means Brahmanda. This whole cosmos is called Brahmanda because it is of the form of an egg. If you look around, the universe looks like of the form of egg. So they say that the whole cosmos is, before it in fact became, all these details developed, first the whole cosmos was contained in the egg, in the golden egg, Hiranyagarbha. So, Taihi Andam, from the five elements we have what we call Anda. Anda means Brahmanda, the cosmos in the subtle form. Tatra Bhuvanam, from that Brahmanda then, all the details of the 14 worlds, the 7 up and 7 down, all of them were created. Then Bhogya, why so many kinds of worlds? Why? Because each one of them have peculiar objects of experience. So, different kinds of objects of experience are there. Bhogya, Bhogashraya, each one of them has different kinds of bodies or upadis. So, all of these were created. First, Brahmanda, the cosmos, from that all these different fields of experiences, all the different objects there, and all the different kinds of bodies, all of these were created from the five elements. Hiranyagarbha sthule asmin dehe Vaishvanaro bhavet, and that Hiranyagarbha, by identification with this gross cosmos, came to be called Vaishvanara or Virat Purusha, the cosmic person. Says the Tikakara, Taihi Panchikritaihi Bhutaihi Upadana Karana Bhutaihi Andaha Brahmandaha Utpadyate. Taihi means by those Panchikritaihi Bhutaihi, by these five grossified elements, Upadana Karana Bhutaihi, which form the Upadanam or the material for the subsequent, which become the material cause for the entire gross creation. Andaha Brahmanda Utpadyate. This Anda Brahmanda, the cosmic egg, is first created. Tatra, there, in this Brahmanda, the cosmic egg, Brahmandantar Bhuvanani, the different Bhuvanani, the different worlds. Upari bhage vartamanaha bhumyadaha सप्तलोकाः भूमेः अधस्थितानि अतलादीनि सप्त पातालांतानि. So these 14 worlds are created, 7 up and 7 down. What is the world in which we are? It's called Bhulokaha. And then there are 6 worlds above. Bhuvanani upari bhage vartamanaha. Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. So these are Bhur, Bhuva, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. The 7 worlds up. Bhumyadaha, Bhumyadi, Saptalokaha, Bhume, Adhasthitani. And there are 7 worlds which obtain below this Bhu or the Prithvi. Ataladini, Sapta Patalantani, beginning from Atala, ending in Patala. So Atala, Sutala, Vitala, Tala Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Mahatala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala. These 7 down, these 7 worlds are there. So all those down means pain, up means pleasure. That's how we have to understand. So all the worlds which lie above this Prithvi, all of them are worlds where increasing degree of pleasure is experienced, and all the worlds which are supposed to be below earth, their increasing degree of pain is experienced. And so depending upon our karma, we wind up in one of these things. What we perceive is only this world. Swami, are other worlds there? Is there a heaven? Is there a Bhurlokaha, Mahar, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyalokam? I don't know. Must be there, because they say. But are there all these Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, all this Patala? Yes, they also must be there, because it is said. Neither can we prove them, nor can we disprove them, because these are not objects of perception. Should we believe in them? If you want to believe in them. Should we accept them? If you want to accept them. It doesn't affect us. A Vedantin doesn't bother about next life. He doesn't bother about previous life. He doesn't bother about other world. He bothers about now only. But we still present the whole model of previous life, this life, next life, all sorts of things. Why? In order to understand the life that we come across, that we experience. Not that we plan for the next life, or that I am bothered about what I did in the past life. I am not bothered. But all sorts of samskaras are brought with me. But this is all your own karma that you are experiencing. Maybe. All your prarabdha, all what you did you are paying for. Maybe I am paying for it. I don't know when I did it and in what state I did it. I don't hold myself responsible for what I did at that time. If what I did right now presents itself in this form, I'll accept it. And so whether there are worlds for suffering, there may be. Other worlds of greater pleasure, we are interested in none of them. But still, as far as understanding of the creation is concerned, it is necessary to know this thing, that's all. But knowing doesn't mean that I dwell upon the Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, etc. I know what they must look like and things like that. I have never spent a single moment on any heaven or anything at all, because that doesn't interest us. It's interesting that this never bothered me at all. Whether heaven is there, that question has never arisen in my mind. Is there a previous birth? I accept it, but I never thought about what I must be in the previous birth. And what will happen to me after I die? That thought never occurs. Means we never dwell upon those things. But we understand that such things must be there, because it is logical also, and because the scriptures say. It is logical that different worlds can be there, because we need not imagine or need not insist that the world is confined to what we perceive, or that the potential of pain and pleasure is merely confined to what the human being can experience. We need not insist that. After the world can have so many levels of consciousness and so many levels of matter and creation and experiences, and all of them we cannot experience. What our eyes, ears and the senses can experience is only within a very limited range. And what about the whole world that lies beyond that range? You mean it is not available for experience? It may be available for the living beings in different kinds of upadhya. We imagine. And so we think that it's possible that there can be subtle worlds above or superior to this earth, and there may be other worlds also which are inferior to the earth. These worlds can be there and they talk about it. It's something that are seen, and some people are gone. Narada Muni, etc. is supposed to have a passport, and he goes from one world to the other. Because you require certain kind of powers to be able to assume different kinds of bodies because just as you must have a certain kind of a spaceship to go to moon, special equipment is required, special attire is required. So also for going to Patāla, etc., you require a special kind of attire. If you can have that, you can go there. For going to Swarga, etc., you require a special kind of attire. So we find description in the Puranas of such people who are able to do this, and so we imagine these things may be there. But to complete the description, that all these 14 worlds were created, because these are 14 fields of experiences where different kinds of experiences can be gained. Ataladini sapta patalantani, ending in patala, teshu cha bhuvaneshu, and all these in these different worlds, taihi pranivihi bhoktum yogyani annadini. So different kinds of living beings are there in different worlds. Each one of them require different kinds of food and different kinds of objects of experience. All of that must be. Imagine what a computer it must be. Can you imagine? The computer, the omniscience of the Lord, who must take into account the desire of every creature and must design so many kinds of worlds, so many kinds of bodies, so many kinds of different objects of experience. Because what we have on the earth is what we experience. But what is there in heavens must be different. Bhulokaha, Bholokaha, Swarlokaha, each one of them must have different kinds of objects. They must be eating different kinds of rice and different kinds of sweets, and if they are eating in this manner. And this Atala, Vitala, all these different worlds below must have yet another kinds of objects, another kinds of bodies, another way of enjoying them, another way of experiencing them. And all of this has been thought of, and accordingly created. Who can create this? The Creator has to be omniscient, has to be omnipotent. You and I cannot do that. So, teshu cha bhuvaneshu, taihi pranivihi bhoktum yogyani annadini, food, etc., which are fit to enjoy by the respective beings in those worlds. Tattal lokochita sharirani cha, and lokochita sharirani, and the bodies which are fit to dwell in those particular worlds. Because if you are born in Alaska, your body must be of a certain constitution, and born in Madras, another constitution. If you simply shift this man from Madras to Alaska, I guess he'll die, and put that Alaska man here. So there is a Tattalloka Uchita Sharirani. Those bodies which are fit for dwelling in those particular worlds, they must be created accordingly. See, when you see the cows here, their skin, they have more hair and everything else to protect them from this cold. Indian cows don't have that. If you bring those cows here, they'll die right away in this weather. Perhaps you take these cows there to Madras, similar fate may be there, I don't know. So, Uchita Sharirani, that also must be thought about. And so, an intelligence is functioning everywhere. It shows how intelligence is everywhere. Of course, perhaps Darwin might say that this intelligence is built into the matter. He might think it is a matter that is responding, isn't it, according to him? What does evolution mean? Evolution means that it is the organism which responds to the environment and accordingly develops. That is because he cannot accept an intelligence beyond what is perceived. But we say that it is the intelligence that is functioning in and through everything, and it creates what is appropriate for a given time, given place, given situation. Thus everywhere, if you want to see the omniscient God, you can see Him everywhere, because everywhere you find intelligence functioning. In a plant, when it grows, intelligently it grows. A cow, when it goes about and eats, drinks, intelligently it does. Even a grain of sand is intelligently there. Everything in the creation shows intelligence. Intelligence means there is a deliberation there, as though that everything is deliberately there. It is deliberately acting, deliberately functioning. That shows that intelligence is expressing itself in every form. It is that intelligence that is crystallized that comes to be called a glass. That intelligence crystallized comes to be called a microphone, and therefore intelligence is the content of everything. So microphone also is an intelligent entity. It functions intelligently in transmitting the sound. You say that we have created it. Well, we have created it because there was a potential to create it. But the potential has been built into everything. That is intelligence. What is created by man and what is not created by man, everything we find intelligence expressing. That intelligence alone is God. And so that's why it's Ishvara Agnya Jayante. That intelligence is Ishvara Agnya. And so whatever manifests, whatever is born, the whole scheme is as unfolding. That scheme which has been conceived right at the very first moment, the whole scheme intelligently unfolds itself in the form of this whole cosmos. Taihi eva panchikritaihi bhutaihi Ishvara Agnya Jayante. All of these, the places and the bodies and the objects and everything is born. So this Sthula Sharira also is born of the 5 gross elements, which we know. When this body dies, then we find one by one element leaving. That's why we know that this body consisting of 5 elements ultimately merges into the 5 elements. The air goes away first, and fire goes away, then the air goes away, fire goes away, water goes away. Then the body ultimately merges into ash or earth. And whatever space it occupied, all of that also merges. So born of 5 elements goes back into 5 elements. Evam sthula sharirotpattim abhidaya. Thus having stated the creation of this sthula sharira, the gross body, teshu sthula sharireshu abhimanavataha hiranyagarbhasya samashtirupasya vaishvara sanyakatvam ekaika sthula sharirabhimanavatam vyashtirupanam tejasanam Vishvasanyakatvam cha bhavati ityaha hiranyagarbha iti. And now that the gross body is there, that is what we call samashti sthula sharira, or the totality of the gross body. That is what we call vyashti sthula sharira, or the individual gross body. This hiranyagarbha is nothing but Ishvara, the Lord. So Brahma or Paramatma reflected in Maya is called Ishvara. That Ishvara, when he identifies with the totality of all individual subtle body, when he gets further identified with individual gross bodies, then the Tejasa comes to be called Vishwa. Vishvasanyakatvam cha bhavati ityaha hiranyagarbha sthulesmin dehe vaishvanaro bhavet. This hiranyagarbha, on account of identification with this gross body, the totality of the gross body, comes to be called Vaishvanara or Virat. Says asmin sthula dehe vartamano hiranyagarbha vaishvanaro bhavet. Hiranyagarbha obtaining in this gross body or identified with the gross body is called Vaishvanara. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.